This video continues with Chapter 40 Dead, He Found Us! Exclamation marvel, starting with a tech explosion to create a robot waifu. Chapter 40 Dead, He Found Us! Exclamation He found us! Beside Nick Fury, a woman said with a very solemn expression. This woman is none other than Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff. Long sword plus laser, is this woman who killed Jin Bing? Do you have any information on this woman? Where the hell is she from? Nick Fury asked solemnly. The murderer who slaughtered Jinbing building at the beginning can finally see her full face today. I have to say, it's beautiful! Exclamation, but again, it's terrifying. Another high-level agent Hill beside him shook his head. There is no information about this woman at present. She seems to have fallen from the sky, and she can't find her identity information at all. No, or it was deliberately blocked. These are two completely different results. The identity information that we can't find by our means, the possibility of the latter is almost zero. In other words, this guy fell from the sky? Nick Fury looked meaningfully at the endless starry sky. As the director of SHIELD, his knowledge is far beyond the average person. What he said came down from the sky, which literally means extraterrestrial creatures from the sky. Combined with Miss 2B's performance just now, he couldn't associate it with humans. Could it be that alien life forms are attacking again? Nick Fury thought silently in his heart, his face extremely ugly. He is very experienced in dealing with extraterrestrial creatures. He still remembers the movements made by the Kree, Skrulls, and the primordial beast on Earth. Involuntarily, the figure of the woman appeared in his mind. If she was here, this might not be so difficult. With her strength, she can definitely compete with the witch in front of her. Nick Fury thought so. Sir, I have another opinion. At this moment, Natasha Romanoff said. Oh, let's hear it. Nick Fury said curiously, thinking back to the present. Last time you asked me to investigate the Rockefeller family secretly, and I got some eyebrows. As she spoke, she pressed it on her hand, and a blurry video suddenly appeared in front of them. Obviously, this video was shot by her using a high-powered lens from a far away place. In the video, a figure flew out of the Rockefeller family's manor. Then another cannon barrel-like thing flew out of the Rockefeller family's manor. The time between the two is less than 2 hours. Nick Fury's face turned serious involuntarily. Hesitation for a long time, said, in other words, this woman flew out of the Rockfield family's manor. Conclusive evidence. Natasha Romanoff nodded affirmatively. I have already been in contact with the classmates and teachers around Rockefeller's eldest young master. Their evaluation of him, the most mentioned, is an extremely smart genius. Locke is a well-known good student in the school. His academic performance is exceptional, and he passed almost all A's in all subjects. So, he's a genius, child prodigy? But what does this have to do with this woman? At the desk, Nick Fury's fingers tapped on the desk unconsciously. The sound of dong-dong is like a drumstick hitting everyone's heart, making everyone feel uneasy. I put a wiretap and a tracking device on Locke's little girlfriend. It shouldn't be long before we get some interesting information. Natasha Romanoff smiled. Hearing her words, the Hill agent on the side looked at her very solemnly. Rock is the eldest young master of the Rockefeller family. If you do this, if they find out, the consequences will be very serious. Hee. Don't worry, I can't find it. I'm doing it very secretly. Besides, I didn't put anything on him. Just on his little girlfriend. Natasha Romanoff shrugged, not paying too much attention. Just then, his communicator rang. Looking at the serial number, it was the dark line he deployed, a subordinate agent who specially collected intelligence for him. Don't think too much, answer. Immediately, a rapid voice came from the communicator. Report, the other party found me, save me. Ah. The sound was very short and fast, and it ended in less than a second. After a scream, it fell into silence. Immediately, the rustling sound of electric current came from the communicator. Hearing this sudden call for help, the already silent command room became even quieter. They could even hear their own heartbeats. Everyone looked at the communicator in Natasha Romanoff's hand with solemn expressions, and they all held their breaths. Because the communicator is not turned off, they can all imagine the picture on the side of the communicator. A guy who killed their colleagues stood quietly in front of the corpse, waiting for the communicator to answer. And Natasha Romanoff naturally won't respond stupidly. He looked at the communicator in his hand, his face even more ugly, because his subordinate, the object of tracking, is Locke's girlfriend Gwen. And as far as he knew, Gwen was dating Locke at the moment. So, what he said was discovered by the other party. Who is this person referring to? Gwen. Or Gwen's little boyfriend, Locke. Who is this person who killed his subordinates? One question after another has been in her mind since then, making her a little restless. This matter is obviously far more complicated and trickier than she imagined. I will find you. At this moment, a hoarse and cold voice came from the communicator. Immediately, a harsh humming sound appeared. Obviously, the communicator was damaged. Regarding the direction, the other members of the Yoba troop and the commander in the later stage, as well as the flight component of the humanoid mecha, will appear. Don't worry, ask for some data, thank you. Chapter 41 included in the SSS level threat list. Someone robbed my prey? The cold and harsh voice was like a sharp sword, piercing the hearts of everyone, making it difficult for them to succor. Several people looked at each other, their eyes full of curiosity and solemnity. Who is this speaker? Doesn't it sound like a 14-year-old should have, or did you use a voice changer? But a 14-year-old boy killed their top agent? No matter how you think about it, it is impossible. Among the information they have collected, Locke has a cheerful personality and is a good boy. Usually they don't even dare to kill a fish. But what made them think the most impossible was that Locke had dizziness. A man with hemorrhage commits a murder. This is unreasonable no matter what. I go out for a while. Natasha Romanoff said solemnly. She was the one who died, and she should be responsible. But before she could leave, Nick Fury stopped her. Natasha Romanoff, stop all investigations into Locke, and seal all existing findings. But there's nothing wrong with it. Things have come to light, and I don't want to make trouble again. The Rockefeller family is not something we can offend for the time being. Tomorrow you go to the Rockefeller Manor with me to apologize in person and even plead guilty. Nick Fury sighed, his face extremely complicated. If the Rockefeller family is still the Keeball family that used to make money, it would be fine. Although he was apprehensive, it wasn't enough for him to apologize in person. But judging from the current situation, today's Rockefeller family is not limited to the stage of making money. Judging from the powerful strength of that woman, their strength has entered another stage. A stage in which he had to be terrified. At this stage, it is to have a powerful armed force that is independent of any force in this world. Judging from the performance just now, the Rockefeller family's armed forces are enough to overthrow their SHIELD. And it's just a woman. But the ghost knows if there are other women behind the Rockefeller family. What if there is more than one like that woman? Thinking of this, he felt like a thorn in his back, and his back became cold. That was horrible. Confess. Natasha Romanoff looked at Nick Fury in astonishment, thinking she had heard it wrong. Yes, plead guilty. Nick Fury nodded solemnly. I see. Natasha Romanoff nodded bitterly. She wasn't stupid. What Nick Fury was worried about was exactly what she was worried about, but it was a bit of a surprise for her to plead guilty. But after thinking about everything, she herself doesn't think there is any problem with this decision. It happened that they could take this opportunity to enter the Rockefeller Manor and meet Rockefeller in person. Maybe they can find some information from this prince that they have not yet mastered. Okay, you can go do your work. Nick Fury took a cigarette from the cigarette case on the table and lit it. The slightly spicy cigarette made his mind sober a lot, and his heart, which had been shocked by Miss 2B, also recovered. Till put the Rockefeller family on the SSS level threat list. Nick Fury exhaled a smoke ring. Hesitation said after a while. Is there really no problem with this? Hill agent asked Nick Fury with a serious look on his face. No one knows better than she what the SSSS threat list means. Only if the threat level is capable of causing a devastating blow to the entire human world, it can only be included in this list. Since the establishment of SHIELD, the forces that can be included in this threat list can be counted on one hand. At present, it is the bare country that has the threat of nuclear strike and several other nuclear strike countries. And then there's an extraterrestrial civilization, the Kree. As an Earthling who has worked with Captain Marvel, Nick Fury knows that, in this universe, in addition to their planet, there are many extraterrestrial civilizations whose technological power far exceeds them. One of them is the Kree, so it is natural for him to be included in the SSS level threat list. But now Nick Fury has even joined the Rockefeller family. The threat of a family can be compared to nuclear strikes against countries, or even extraterrestrial civilizations, which is unbelievable to her. This is enough to see how much Nick Fury is afraid of this family. I don't want to, but judging from the current performance of the Rockefeller family, there is no problem in including them on this list. Just do it. I understand. Hill agent nodded and immediately started the operation. Watching the members re-entering a busy state, Nick Fury smoked a cigarette in silence. After a long time, after smoking a cigarette, he shoved it into the ashtray, as if to vent his unhappiness. Looks like it's time to find old friends. Muttering to himself, picking up his phone, Nick Fury dialed a number he hadn't contacted for a long time. Far away in the Rockefeller Manor, I remembered a phone call. In the dim alley, a man in a hood wiped the blood of the long sword in his hand. At the same time, Locke's figure appeared at the end of the alley. He looked suspiciously at the guy who stole his prey. Ladies and gentlemen, I beg for a review of flowers. Exclamation. Chapter 42. The housekeeper is also a superhero. Locke followed the short man all the way to the alley. I originally planned to solve it myself, but I didn't expect to kill a Chang Yaejin in the middle, and he actually did it one step earlier. His first reaction was that someone wanted to kill someone and destroy the evidence. But when he heard the man say he would go to SHIELD, he dismissed the idea. Because it means that this man is not from SHIELD, so he is very curious. Who is this guy? Locke looked at the man, and at this time the man also turned to look at Locke. At this time, Locke realized that the man in front of him was wearing a skull mask, and he couldn't see his true face at all. Who are you? Locke looked at the man calmly and asked. However, in the face of his question, the man with the mask did not answer. Instead, he put away his long sword and rushed towards Locke as fast as a cheetah. Seeing this, Locke's face showed interest, and he closed the knife and rushed towards him. Does this mean that he wants to compete with himself? For the sake of you killing the damned SHIELD agents for me, I'll give you this chance. Locke thought silently in his heart. Immediately, he squeezed his fist and rushed towards the mysterious hooded man. In an instant, the two fought, and their right fists collided heavily. Immediately, the figure of the hooded man retreated and slammed heavily on the wall behind him. The face under the skeleton mask was covered with a touch of pain. He never imagined that Locke's power would be so terrifying. At this moment, Locke, who was opposite him, struck again, with a fast and strong wind. The clenched fist is like a beast biting down at him. If he is hit, he can be sure that he will die. In horror, he rolled on the spot, avoiding Locke's heavy punches in a very thrilling manner. I saw Locke's wild beast-like body swept past him, his fists entrained with air waves, and terrifying tearing air sounds erupted. Then, he hit the wall behind him heavily. Boom! A terrifying roar sounded, and the 5-meter-high wall behind him instantly burst and exploded a huge amount of breach. It felt like being bombed by a missile, and such a scene directly shocked him. He swallowed his saliva, his legs were shaking a little. If he hadn't dodged in time just now, it should be his body that exploded now. This power is simply outrageous. Horror is not enough to describe. At this moment he found that Locke's eyes moved to him again, and there was a flash of coldness in his eyes. Looking at such eyes he was shocked, and a crisis of life and death appeared immediately. So, without saying a word, he raised his hands quickly, as if I were surrendering. Looking at the sudden strange operation of the masked man, Locke was also shocked. This guy, who just took the initiative to do something with himself, will he surrender directly? Are you so cowardly? Should not be. Just when Locke was curious, the masked man took off his mask. Suddenly, Locke's eyes widened with a ghostly expression on his face. Because the guy who appeared in front of him at the moment was none other than his old housekeeper, Lao Mo. "Master, it's me." Lao Mo looked at Locke with a flattering smile and said. Then Pidian ran in front of Locke, like a fool. "I'm not blind, I can see, but why are you old bones here? You also started with me. What do you think? You want to go to the ground ahead of time for safety, right?" Locke spread his hands and looked at Lao Mo with a speechless expression. "Hey, I just saw that something flew out of the laboratory in our manor. I was curious and thought it was your accident, young master, so I followed me on a motorcycle. But the speed of that thing was too fast. I didn't keep up, but I found the guy who was secretly stalking the young master, so I solved it for you." Lao Mo laughed and showed his kind smile again, which was completely different from the decisive look just now, like two people. Locke suspects that the old Mo in front of him has the same double personality as Green Goblin. But judging from Lao Mo's performance, even if Lao Mo has a double-sided personality, the old Mo of these two personalities is extremely loyal to their Rockefeller family. This point, Locke can still be sure, and it can be seen from the scene just now. "So, is this the reason why you shot me?" Locke asked Lao Mo with a speechless expression. "Hey, although I already know that the young master has been injected with super soldier serum. But I don't know what your strength is, young master, so the old servant wants to confirm it, so that I can rest assured." Lao Mo explained. "And then, are you sure?" Locke looked at Lao Mo with a half-smiling smile. Lao Mo smiled embarrassedly and said, "It's confirmed, it's as strong as a monster, and it's astonishing. Not to mention 1 me, even 10 me, it is absolutely impossible to be the opponent of the young master. It seems that I can really retire completely. In the future, the young master will support the family, and I will just stay at home and take care of the family." Stop. What you're saying is getting more and more wrong." Locke was speechless. When Lao Mo said this, he felt that his relationship with Lao Mo was a bit abnormal. He. Lao Mo laughed dryly, not speaking. Seeing this, Locke walked to Lao Mo and took the skull mask in his hand. "So, you used to be a so-called superhero, skeleton man?" "Dead old man." Lao Mo. "Ask for data. Flowers and evaluations without money are fine." Chapter 43. The grown Gwen and the drenched Miss 2B. "Don't make fun of me, young master. I'm not interested in doing superhero, I'm just a bodyguard by the old man's side. It's just that sometimes it's inconvenient to show people with my true face, so I learned from the movie and made myself a mask. But my mask is not fixed, there are all kinds." Lao Mo explained. "So that's the case, so you call Roar the Variety Man?" "Variety Man? I've said it all, I'm not a superhero, so naturally I don't call it Roar. If you have to call me Grandpa Man. After all, I'm not too young. I think you really want to go to Earth for safety. Ha ha ha. Just kidding, young master, don't get excited." "Okay, no kidding. How much do you know about the SHIELD investigation into us?" "I have been paying attention, Natasha Romanoff. That woman is still restrained and dare not investigate us directly. But she shouldn't put her hand on your little girlfriend, master. That's why I did it." Lao Mo said. It seems that you are very familiar with SHIELD. Let's talk about it. Locke looked at Lao Mo meaningfully and said. Not too familiar, the old man invested in Howard back then. But what kind of SHIELD this guy went to set up is not in line with the old man's philosophy. In the end, the old man parted ways with them. However, we still know something about SHIELD by means of our family. Their current leader, Nick Fury, is a character. If you see him, sir, pay attention. But don't be polite. In front of me, he is also a junior. If he dares to offend you, I will abolish him. That's it. Locke suddenly realized, but he didn't expect their family to have such a relationship with SHIELD. However, the old man and his preferences are surprisingly consistent. They don't even like to deal with SHIELD. Is this genetic? As for Lao Mo's words to pay attention to Nick Fury when he sees him, he didn't listen to it at all. It's not him who should pay attention, it's Nick Fury, the old fox. It's best not to let yourself see him, or he really can't help but kill him. Reach out to your own woman. This is his inverse scale, untouchable. Okay, it's getting late. Go back and have a good rest. By the way, you can get me another car. Locke thought for a while and said, No one is there tonight. I was driving a luxury car. Because of traffic jams, it was just a matter of changing a motorcycle with a luxury car halfway through. At the end of the quay, even the motorcycle was blown to pieces by Green Goblin. Hearing Locke's words, Lao Mo looked at him in astonishment. Master, didn't you drive out the Koenigsegg 11? Well, it's open, but it's a gift. Locke shrugged and said indifferently, Give it away. It seems that the other party should be a super beauty. I see. I'll let Ruth out in another car. I understand your expression, Lao Mo's face. Seeing this, Locke smiled and didn't speak. The woman he sent the car was indeed a beautiful, real Anne Hathaway. However, he was not familiar with her at all. He had only met her once. But even if Lao Mo knew that he gave a supercar worth tens of millions of USD to a strange woman, it won't be surprising. After all, the current Locke is no longer the previous Locke. Now he is a little adult. I say small because I am young. The reason why he said big is because all the things he does are already done by adults. Age means little to Locke. Besides, it's just a supercar with tens of millions of USD. For the Rockefeller family, this amount of money is a drizzle. The tracking thing is done, and Locke is back at the adult bar soon. Because he gave the bartender a death order before he left, Gwen is safe and sound. Seeing Locke coming back, she immediately greeted her with a smile. What have you been doing? It's nothing, just go out and let the water go. The place where the water is put is over there. Lies don't blush. Well, let me tell the truth. The toilet bowl is too small for my giant. When did you become so shameless? Hee hee, just now. Why, don't you believe it? Sop, I won't touch it. Gwen predicted Locke's prediction this time. Locke smiled wryly. Good guy, growing up very fast. It's too noisy here. I don't like it very much. Let's go back, or my dad should be worried. You're right, I have to send you back quickly. If my police chief's father-in-law finds out that I brought you to such a place, he will probably chase after me and Chop. Locke joked. What are you talking about? Who's your father-in-law? Gwen blushed, but he didn't expect Locke to say that. However, although she appeared to be resisting on the surface, she was extremely sweet and happy inside. Hee hee, what do you say? Don't laugh at me. But you are a little self-aware that you are not allowed to come to this kind of place in the future. If I ever find out you're having fun in a place like this again, I'll take care of you. Gwen's handsome face showed a hint of frost, and he squeezed his fist and said, Then where am I going to have fun? Locke teased. You can't go anywhere. If you really want to have fun, then come to me. Gwen blushed suddenly. Hearing Gwen's words, Locke understood. This girl, she understands. Did a trip to an adult bar make him grow up? This was a pleasant surprise. It didn't take long for Locke to deliver Gwen safely to his home. He then returned to his own manor, pushing open the door. Before Locke could react, one was wearing a short gothic skirt and black silk. But the woman who was soaked all over stood in the room and looked at him with a charming smile. This woman is not Miss 2B. Who else could it be? Ask for some flowers and comments. Your support is my motivation. Thank you very much. Chapter 44 The Yoba Army. The commander is here. Seeking flowers and evaluation. Looking at the wet Miss 2B in front of her, Locke felt dazed and subconsciously looked at the dark sky outside. I remember it wasn't raining outside. Or is it raining where you performed the mission? Locke said curiously, looking at Miss 2B. Miss 2B shook her head and said, "It's not raining outside, but it's raining at your house, and it's raining locally." Saying that, before Locke could respond to the deep meaning of the sentence, Miss 2B had already walked to Locke on the catwalk. He took Locke's hand and gently dragged himself into Locke's arms. "It's okay to drag yourself into Locke's arms. Poor and charming," he said. "Master, I'm cold, hug me." Looking at the cat like Miss 2B in front of him, Locke burst into laughter, and he could see it. This is obviously to invite credit. He has already learned from Laumo what happened at the Hydra secret base and SHIELD. Miss 2B slaughtered everyone by herself, leaving no one alive. It may sound a little too cruel and ruthless, but in Locke's view, this is the best way to accomplish the task. Treat the enemy without mercy. This is his consistent style. It's just that when Miss 2B implements this policy, she tried a little too hard. It has become to deal with the enemy and never give up. Is there a problem? Definitely, no problem. He originally wanted to kill the chickens to show the monkeys, but now the monkeys are probably scared and peeing. So be rewarded! Exclamation. It's definitely cold when the clothes are wet. Take them off, and then get into the quilt, and it won't be cold in a while. Locke said with a smile. Giggle, but Teacher Yearn has to help you with your homework. Otherwise, your academic performance will decline. So, you are now a tutor who is wet in the rain? Yes, it is. It turns out that, I know, I will take you to warm up with the teacher now, and then you will help me with my homework. After all, you can't miss learning. Learn the biggest thing. Giggle. Yes, learning is the biggest. Yiren buried his head in Locke's chest, his face full of sweetness. A few days later, inside the underground laboratory at Rockefeller Manor, Locke stood quietly in front of a row of cultivation warehouses, with a look of anticipation on his face. The 5 cultivation plants were placed side by side in front of him. Among the 5 cultivation plants, 6 new bodies were hatching. And these 6 androids are exactly the 6 members of the Yoba Army that Locke wants to build. They are the Yoba A-type Roman 2, also known as A2 for short, the Yoba Corps Commander, the Yoba Correspondent 60, the Yoba Correspondent 210, the red-haired twins, Diplo and Popolo. No one knows better than Locke the level of danger in the world of Marvel, a place where alien life forms threaten to invade at every turn. So in order to gain a firm foothold in this world, Locke needs to become more powerful. At present, with his ability, his own individual combat power has entered a bottleneck period. After all, his body has been strengthened by the enhanced super soldier serum, and it is almost impossible to make his body stronger, at least under the existing conditions. In this way, all he can rely on is his smart brain, using his high technology from Neil Mechanical Age Locke to create an external armor for himself. Secondly, it is to use the power of technology to expand its own power team. And this team was referring to nothing else but the Yoba Army. In this world, he wants to build a Yoba Army that only belongs to him. In this way, it is the scene in front of him. In fact, all this has long been in his plan. It's just that it always takes a process, and the construction of 2B is to cross the river by feeling the stones, which has accumulated a lot of experience for Locke. Therefore, he is even more handy when building other members of the Yoba Army. It has been more than half a month since the build order was issued. Today is the time to accept the results. While thinking about it, Locke came to one of the training plants that indicated that the completion rate had reached 99%. In the cultivation warehouse, there is a mature and charming body that is almost outrageous. Looking at the specific body, Rao is Locke, who has done his homework not long ago, and he feels a little uncontrollable. Gan, the enhanced super soldier serum really amplifies my personal characteristics. Locke looked at the beautiful woman in the training warehouse and shook his head with a wry smile. This mature and charming woman is the commander of the Yoba unit. A mature and calm leader android capable of making correct judgments at critical moments. The purpose of Locke's creation is to let her manage the Yoba Army in the later stage instead of himself. And he himself only needs to be a behind-the-scenes manipulator, which is what Locke has always hoped. In any world, it's the coolest thing to throw hands at the shopkeeper, isn't it? However, ordinary androids are obviously not competent for this job, so this is also the purpose of his coming here at this moment. Pour a small bottle of green medicine into the injection module of the culture chamber. Enter another special code, and an electronic synthesis sound rang in Locke's ears. The injection of super soldier serum is successful, and the artificial human body ability is being strengthened. The strengthening progress is 1%. 10% a line of progress bar appeared in front of Locke's eyes. Yes, what Locke has to do today is to enhance the commander's physical function. A new day, new data, trouble, good show to come. Chapter 45 Creator, don&amp #039T be restrained. Let go of your hands and feet. I can bear it. Humans and general-purpose combat robots are different. Miss 2B, who is a general-purpose combat robot, was obtained by Locke using biochemical technology to retransform the human body. The bodies of these artificial humans in front of them are just the first step in building a powerful general-purpose combat robot, and they are considered biochemical parts. This is also the main reason why it took him nearly a month to build Miss 2B. Therefore, the following A2 and other members of the Yoba unit will also undergo 2 transformations. However, as the commander of the Yoba unit, he needs more of a calm mind, and the individual combat effectiveness can be appropriately reduced. Therefore, Locke did not have the idea of reforming the commander a second time, but used another method to strengthen the artificial human whose body was the same as that of a human being. That's right, the method he thought of was very simple, that is to use the super soldier serum he developed to strengthen. This is indeed a good choice, because the super soldier serum can not only strengthen the physical fitness, but also strengthen the brain. This is the best for the commander who will assume a leadership role in the future. When the progress bar reaches 100%, it means that Locke's desired strengthening has been completed. With a smile on his face, Locke quickly entered an activation command on the cultivation bin. Suddenly, the electronic synthesis sounded again. Activation program is starting. The memory import is successful, the emotion module is successfully generated, and the personality emotion generation is completed. In the body structure examination, everything is normal, and the body function test is in progress. After the test, the result, a powerful physique that surpasses the physical quality of human beings by 10 times, a super intelligence that surpasses the intelligence of human beings by 2 times. The wake-up procedure is starting, the startup is successful, and it will wake up soon. 5 4 3 2 1. Hearing the continuous sound of the electronic synthesis sound, a look of anticipation appeared on Locke's face. 10 times the physical fitness of a human being, and 2 times the IQ. This is very good. At least in the future, in terms of homework, it should not fall behind too much. Locke smiled slightly, with a wry smile on his face. At this moment, the woman in the training warehouse suddenly opened her eyes, and then there was a touch of enlightenment on her face. Locke entered the unique memory he compiled into the commander's mind. In her memory, Locke is her creator, the existence she will dedicate her whole life to. He raised his hand and lightly buckled the glass of the cultivation bin, and there was a dull sound. The beautiful Wonsan inside has a slightly upturned mouth, revealing a charming smile. Seeing this, Locke smiled. His body felt a little hot. Raise your hand, press the release button, and the culture medium in the culture chamber immediately drains, and the hatch slowly opens. The commander's beautiful body was exposed because he had just stepped out of the immersion in the culture liquid. So the commander is like a newborn who has just been born from the amniotic fluid. The body is white and translucent, as soft and elastic as the egg whites that have been peeled off. It's the real skin of a newborn baby. At this moment, the commander took elegant steps and came to Locke. Looking at such a scene, Locke smiled and his face was full of satisfaction. Looking at her eyes, it was like examining her perfect work, and she felt a sense of accomplishment in her heart. The slim commander finally stopped in front of Locke with a smile and tenderness in his eyes. "Creator, I am the commander of the Yoba Army. Please give me more advice in the future." "Well, I will." Locke nodded, looking at this outstanding body, and couldn't help but have some thoughts in his heart. At this time, the commander raised his hand and gently pulled Locke's hand. The first rule of robotics: a robot must never harm the creator, nor disobey any command of the creator. The second rule of robotics: observe the words and discover the needs of the creator, and take the initiative to meet the needs of the creator. The precondition must abide by the first rule. The above self-management guidelines also apply to androids. "Creator, am I right?" The commander directly moved out the set of rhetoric before Miss 2B. "That's right." Locke nodded with a smile. The guidelines were customized by him, and he was naturally very clear. "So, the creator, I found your needs. I should try my best to meet them, and ask the young master to give me this opportunity." Saying that, the commander's sister took Locke's hand and walked towards the manor villa above the laboratory. "My commander's sister, is this not good?" Locke said obediently when he got a bargain. "Although the mouth is not very good, but the body is very honest to follow. This is the same as returning home for the new year. The elders give you red envelopes." He said no, his pockets were already open. Locke is in such a state now. As expected of Wonsan who has queen style. "Commander sister, this aura is completely different from Miss 2B. Can't say which one is better, but it's always nice to be different." Chapter 46: Revolutionary Friendship, Iron-Struck Girlfriends, Future Plans and Battle Plans. After a few days, the appearance of the commander broke the tranquility of the manor 2 days ago. After all, 2 women playing together is still very interesting. As for the newly added member, the commander's big sister, Miss 2B, is naturally a little grumpy. After all, before that, Locke, the creator, belonged to her alone. But now, with the appearance of the commander's big sister, the exclusive creator has become shared, and she is naturally dissatisfied. However, based on his loyalty to Locke and his unique love, these are slowly adapting. Until last night, Locke deliberately opened up, and Miss Rao 2B couldn't stand it. In the end, he had to reach a temporary front alliance with the commander's elder sister. Even if the two have a revolutionary friendship, so far, the relationship between the two has become extraordinarily close, like best friends between human beings. And it's not the plastic kind, it's an iron girlfriend. After all, the 2 of them are one of the 4 irons in life. The 4 irons of life are to carry guns together, go through the window together, share the dirt together, and the 2 of them clearly satisfied the first item. In the luxurious and noble study, Locke sat in front of the desk with a calm expression. His fingers were gently flipping through the plan book in front of him. His eyes wandered, and a smile of admiration appeared on his face. The plan in front of him is called Future Planning and Operational Guidance White Paper. It is a detailed planning report made by the commander's elder sister based on some of the crises that may occur in the future provided by Locke in the past few days. As a leader android, making plans and grasping the direction of the future situation are the strengths of Miss Commander. If Miss 2B is a warrior who fights the enemy bravely, then Big Sister Commander is a strategist who strategizes. One is responsible for killing the enemy on the front line, and the other is responsible for coordinating the rear of the front line. The perfect match is the same as coaching Locke's homework last night. One is at the front and the other is at the back. The so-called offense and defense are both attacking and attacking from both sides. This is what it means. Establish an outer space base, create a humanoid mecha flight formation, build a large number of anti-gravity auxiliary robots, and set up a more robust Yoba troop. Is this your plan? Locke's fingers tapped lightly on the table, looking at the commander's elder sister who was leaning over the desk with both hands on the desk with surprise. The turbulent waves hit, making Locke feel seasick, and his eyes moved up to the commander's elder sister's face with difficulty. The charming smile, the sexy rosy red lips, opened slightly, nodded and said, "Yes, this is the only best way to deal with it that I can think of at the moment. If the crises you are talking about are true, Master, this plan must be put on the agenda immediately. After all, the first big event you mentioned, the Battle of New York, is only a year away." Hee. Very good, as expected of my appointed commander's eldest sister. I thought about it with me. The plan in your hand is what I want. Very good, very perfect. Locke said, raised his hand and hooked the commander's chin lightly, gently pulled her to him, and sent a rewarding kiss. His face was blushing and his beautiful eyes were flowing, but he was holding the back of Locke's head, who wanted to stop at one touch. Locke's eyes widened, and he couldn't laugh or cry in his heart. What he thought was a simple and short-term reward turned into a mutual gift. As the so-called come and go without being indecent, he is naturally not polite. But before he could be polite, the door opened and Miss 2B, wearing a black gothic skirt, walked in with a pot of fruit tea. "Yo, what about stealing?" Miss 2B, who had already opened the shackles, said mockingly, looking at the two of them. Taking a light and sexy catwalk, he came to Locke's desk, and then gently placed the glass teapot in front of Locke, and poured him a cup. Through the glass teapot, Locke saw nearly half of the wolfberry in the teapot. Exclamation, "This damn lethal dose!" Exclamation, "Master, this is the fruit tea I made for you. Drink it while it's hot." Miss 2B looked at Locke and said. Locke looked at her speechlessly, with a feeling of déjà vu. Isn't this the story of a biscuits lover? What a mess! Exclamation, "Are you sure this is fruit tea? Where's the fruit? Isn't this right in front of you?" 2B pointed to the wolfberry in the kettle and said, No, young master, don't you know that the fresh wolfberry fruit is a kind of fruit? I don't know if it is fruit, but I know that a woman is trying to provoke a war. Master, I know the woman you mentioned. I'll arrest her and take her into your hands. Miss 2B smiled, then walked around the desk and came to Locke and then fell down. Master, I caught her. Hurry up and use the torture. Your uncle's. Looking at Miss 2B's divine operation, Locke was dumbfounded. Good guy, it's okay to catch yourself. Looking at such a scene, the commander's elder sister on the side covered her mouth and chuckled and nodded secretly, as if she had learned another trick from 2B's younger sister. I drink some Nutrition Express. Continue in the afternoon. Ask for data wow. Exclamation. Chapter 47. Take a long-term view and open up the pattern. Establishing a space base, building a large number of anti-gravity assisted robots, and developing a humanoid mecha flight structure, each of which consumes a lot of money, material, and manpower. Creator, do you need to come step by step? The commander's elder sister, looking at the white paper hesitation made by herself, said. Although the white paper on future planning and combat guidance in her hand was written by her own hands, it was without considering money. In other words, it was planned under the most ideal circumstances, but everyone knows that ideals and reality are different. Therefore, the white paper in hand is only for drafting. If it is really to be realized, it needs to be more seriously implemented in every detail. This is a very troublesome thing, such a big project. Rao is her commander to deal with. It is also quite energy intensive. Not to mention other things, every plan here is the main burner and tens of billions are just drizzle. Especially the outer space base mentioned in it, that is astronomical. You must know that in the past, this could only be done with the strength of a single country. It is conceivable that this would be a huge sum of money. It is astronomical, and there is no problem at all. But she just said her worries, and before Locke could answer, Miss 2B, who had just put on black silk, smiled and said, "Sister Commander, don't worry about money. You have just been born, and you still don't know many things. So let me tell you, our Creator Lord is a man with the Bannote ability. I'm afraid you don't have enough money, but I'm not afraid that you don't have enough money. Real or fake? Bannote ability. How many bannotes?" The commander smiled and turned his gaze to the already tired creator Locke. At the moment, Locke took a gulp of the fruit tea that Miss 2B had carefully brewed for him just now, his eyes a little empty. It seems that he has not recovered from the great stimulation just now. Hearing the conversation between the commander and Miss 2B, he drank the last bit of fruit tea in the cup. Immediately, I felt refreshed and my body's vitality seemed to have recovered a lot. I have to say, this fruit tea is very exciting. It will be set as a regular drink in the future. Otherwise, Rao is a body like him. I am afraid that it will be scrapped. After all, 200 acres of land and 1 cow are not exploited like this. Gently placing the teapot on the table, Locke even had the urge to eat all the small red fruits inside. But he had better restrain himself. After all, the body that has been strengthened by the enhanced super soldier serum will not fail. His eyes shifted from the teapot to the commander's elder sister, and smiled. 2B is right, money is not a problem. You just need to let go and build a space base and humanoid mecha as soon as possible. It shouldn't take long for this thing to come in handy, and there are anti-gravity drone-assisted robots, so let's build it in the amount of tens of millions. 10 million. Creator, are you planning to play bombing? The commander's sister looked at Locke in shock, thinking she had heard it wrong. To know his own original plan, as long as he has about 100,000 anti-gravity drones, it is enough. After all, it is only to protect the 1/3 of the acre where he is. 100,000 units is enough. But now the creator speaks 100 times as much as her. So, how could she not be surprised? With this number, if they really build it, they can completely flatten an entire country. Even if the Battle of New York begins, let alone guarding their 3/3 of an acre of land. It is estimated that by their own strength, they can crush the Chitauri army in the mouth of the creator. If you want to play harder. What's the point of making small plays? It's like taking a bath with you. The water is just as boring as peeing. The water is a little bigger, like a waterfall, so it's cool to wash. 10 million units first, and if it is not enough in the later stage, continue to increase the amount, take a long-term perspective, and open up the pattern. The goal of our Yoba troop is not only this small Earth, but our eyes are the sea of stars. Put tens of millions of anti-gravity drone-assisted robots into the vast universe, and you won't feel much. What do you say? Locke narrowed his eyes slightly, as if a red light burst out from his eyes. Lawless, invincible, and domineering. These crazy and cool adjectives are not enough to describe his crazy momentum at the moment. Seeing such an imposing Locke, the commander's sister was shocked, and her beautiful eyes were full of spring. A man so arrogant and confident, who looks down on the world. Isn't he the king he's always been looking forward to meeting? Immediately, her heart was hot, and she had put on white stockings and was pushed back to her knees. Seeing this, Miss 2B on the side smiled, picked up the empty teapot on the table, got up and walked out of the house. "Master, I'm going to refill a pot for you. I think you should use it." "Sister 2B, thank you. Soak a little more. I want to drink too." Giggle. "Okay, I'll prepare 2 pots for you. Enough for you too." "Master, Are you treating me as a buffalo? Chapter 48 Black Widow, How Should I Punish You? In the very quiet study, there was a rustling sound, which was the sound of the pen rubbing against the white paper. It was pleasant, like massaging the ears. However, Locke did not massage his ears again, but wrote one name after another on the paper. Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Jay Garrick, Hal Jordan, who else? Uncles, the land is plowed too much, it really hurts the brain, and the thinking is not quick enough. Locke scribbled and scribbled on the white paper while laughing bitterly. From last night to just now, he has hardly stopped, and his body is a little weak. If he continues to stay by the commander's elder sister and 2B's side, he may die young. A generation of technology prodigies died of exhaustion in the end. If this is spread out, no one should do it. In order to avoid this embarrassing thing from happening, Locke gave an order directly to let the two women go out to buy and buy. There is no upper limit on the amount. You can buy aircraft cannons if you want. Although Miss 2B and Commander, one is a robot and the other is an artificial human. But as a woman, they are not lacking in the characteristics that they should have, and they can buy and buy when they hear it. The two put on black silk and white silk, randomly chose a luxury car, and drove towards the center of New York City. In this way, Locke at the moment can calm down and plan the next things well. The incident of Selina, who accidentally met Selina the other night, and the encounter with Green Goblin and Spider-Man made him doubt the world he now lives in. This world is obviously different from the Marvel movie main universe he knows. For example, Selina Kyle, like Pete Parker, is not a character in the main universe of Marvel movies. Selina is the Catwoman of the DC universe, and the Pete Parker he sees is obviously the Spider-Man of the Maguire version of the movie. Neither of these characters should have been in the main Marvel universe, but they are now. This is obviously abnormal, but upholds the truth that existence is reasonable. Locke felt that it was necessary for him to study the current world, and it was best to find out a little bit. One thing is for sure now, Spider-Man is definitely not the Spider-Man of his father Iron Man. So for the time being, it can be considered that this world integrates the timeline of Maguire's version of Spider-Man's world. Therefore, the only thing he has to confirm now is whether the DC world is also involved. For him, he definitely doesn't want this to happen. After all, there are no less scary guys in the DC universe than in the Marvel world. A threat from the Marvel universe is enough to give him a headache. If the characters in the DC world also come to do things, it will be dead, then he will have to be more careful. If one day I suddenly ran into Superman, because I didn't recognize it, I was knocked out by him, it wouldn't be a problem. Oh, yes, and Selina, Kyle, let's investigate these first. The pen in Locke's hand tapped lightly on the paper and nodded with satisfaction. Lao Mo, come to the study. Locke pressed the communicator beside the table and said, "Okay." Soon, Lao Mo came to Locke's special study. As soon as he entered the door, he smelled a faint strange smell. As an old rogue, he naturally knows what it tastes like. However, he was embarrassed to point it out directly. It was just an opening with high emotional intelligence. "Master, the lights are turned on at noon. The room needs to be ventilated. You have to open the window to let in the sunlight from outside." While talking, Lao Mo walked to the window and then pulled open the curtains of Locke's study. Suddenly, a scorching sunlight hit Lao Mo's eyes, causing him to scream. "I owe it to the sun," Locke mocked, although his main purpose for drawing the curtains was not to block the sun. But at this time, the sunlight is really strong, and it is impossible not to cover it. "Hey, look how beautiful this sunshine is. Let it shine, it should be." Lao Mo came to Locke with tears in his eyes and said meanly, "Well, I like to take pictures. You can wait for 2 hours to be exposed to the sun on the top of the building, and you can't come back if you don't get too anxious." "Ha ha, just kidding. Master, let's get down to business." Locke nodded and directly handed the paper with the list in his hand to Lao Mo. You go to these places these days to see if there are guys with these names. If there is no place name I wrote, it is also possible to expand the scope of the investigation a little and let me know immediately when there is news. Kent Farm, Gotham City. Looking at the paper in his hand, Lao Mo's face was full of curiosity. Yes, Kent Farm in Smallville, Kansas. As for Gotham City, it should be New York City where we are. Locke thought for a while and said, Master, do these people have any special significance? They are very important to you? Lao Mo said solemnly. It is obviously not an easy thing to make the young master so much trouble to find. Locke nodded and smiled. It has a special meaning, and it is also very important. But it's not what you think. They are not a threat for the time being. Maybe they don't exist. I'm just curious. Anyway, you should do it seriously. By the way, this woman named Selena Kyle, don't move for the time being. I will come in person. Understood, I'll do it now. By the way, I have something to tell the young master about SHIELD. Lao Mo said with a smile on his face. SHIELD. Are they trying to be a demon again? Not this time. Nick Fury called me privately 2 days ago, but I didn't get it. I called again just now, saying that I wanted to visit you, young master, and I explained it by the way, admitting it was a mistake. He thought this was kindergarten. He made a mistake, apologize and it'll be fine. Tell him that this is a bloody society, and mistakes come at a price. Let him go. Locke said coldly. Young master, I think this is an opportunity. Don't you want revenge? Let them in. Isn't everything up to you? Hearing Lao Mo's words, the corners of Locke's mouth turned up slightly. It's still as thoughtful as you old rascal thought. Yes, let them in. If you don't want to admit your mistakes, then let them admit it well. Black Widow, how should I punish you? Locke touched his chin and muttered to himself. Master, there is a whip in my house. Master, Lao Mo, you are absolutely amazing. I am very entangled in the disposal of Natasha Romanoff. You can leave a comment and ask for data. Thank you. Chapter 49 Since I&amp #039 here to confess. What are you doing standing up? Kneel down. I have to say that Lao Mo is indeed a down-to-earth old ruffian, and he is also a very professional actor. Because in his impression, the image of Lao Mo should not be like this. He should be a loyal person, diligent and honest, and his duty is divided into their Rockefeller family's blood and sweat. He is a kind and upright old housekeeper, but the old Mo at this moment is completely different in his eyes. Ruthless, wretched, rude, shameless, and so on. These negative words can be used to describe the current Lao Mo. He doubted that Lao Mo really had a double-sided personality. If he played it, he would be a golden man with proper acting skills. There's no need to play like that. Lao Mo, can you teach me something good, so that your young master will go the wrong way? Locke said with a grin. Not to mention, in fact, such an old Mo is quite appetizing to him. After all, he was not a good person in the previous life. Although he did not do evil, he would never be ridden on his head. What Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff have done this time have already stepped on his red line. If he doesn't teach them a lesson, don't say that he can't make it through. When other Keyball families see it, they think their Rockefellers are soft persimmons. Although he is not afraid of trouble with other Keyball families, he is a troublesome person. To be able to kill chickens to warn monkeys, to avoid future troubles, there is no need to make yourself unhappy. Let's go, take your whip, let's go meet them. Locke said coldly. Hey, okay, young master, by the way, do you want to bring a candle? Lao Mo said seriously. What do you think we are going to do? Locke said speechlessly, looking at the old hooligan. We're not going shopping. Oh, wrong, Lao Mo grinned, revealing his big white teeth. It's a pity that this dead old man doesn't endorse toothpaste. The bright hall is covered with marble-like black gems, showing luxury. Standing on it, you can see your own reflection. This is where the Rockefeller family exclusively received their guests. Before Locke was in power, it was the old man who entertained foreign guests here. Anyone who enters here, whether it is a dragon or a phoenix outside, must bow down. However, the people who can enter here are not ordinary people. Heads of state, keyball tycoons, and more. Today, Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff are able to enter here, and their ancestors are smoking. Locke, who put on a black suit, leaned on the extremely luxurious throne with a calm expression on his face. He rested his hands flat on the armrest of the throne, one leg resting on the other. Looking at the wanton free and easy and extremely arrogant in this solemn hall, dare to use such a sitting posture. Only he is the master. At this moment, the crisp sound of high-heeled shoes came from far and near. Soon, two figures, a man and a woman, appeared in Locke's eyes. The man is wearing a black cloak with a one-eyed blindfold on his face, and the woman is wearing a sexy black tight-fitting outfit, although the whole body is tightly wrapped. However, the neckline on the chest is extremely low, and a beautiful view is unobstructed. Very scheming dress. It seems that nothing is revealed, but what can be given is given, which is just right. This man and woman are none other than Nick Fury and Black Widow Natasha Romanoff, who came to explain. Walking through the luxurious and slightly empty halls, Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff are on high alert, because they didn't know whether they would face that terrifying existence next. Could the woman who single-handedly slaughtered the Junjie&amp building and the Hydra base be here? Does this woman have other companions? Where does she come from? And who is behind her? Rockefeller family? Or something else? One question mark after another constantly appeared in his mind, making their faces dignified unconsciously. Negative emotions such as tension, worry, fear, etc. followed one after another, making the two feel like they were about to suffocate. The two of them are not people who haven't seen the world. What kind of guy they haven't seen? But, for some unknown reason, as soon as they walked into this hall, they felt a terrifying aura enveloped them. The key point is that there is a dark place here, and even the floor is black, which is really too depressing. Obviously only a few dozen meters away, but they feel like they have walked for a century. It is simply torment. Finally, they came to the very center of the hall with difficulty. His forehead was already wet with cold sweat, and his palms were also sweaty. Only then did they realize that sitting on the throne 10 meters away from them was not the terrifying woman they thought, but a handsome young man. And this young man, they naturally know who it is. Not only do they know, but they are quite familiar with it because of the investigation these days. This person is none other than the eldest young master of the Rockefeller family, Locke. The shock in their eyes was indescribable, and they couldn't help but briefly lost their minds. At this moment, a cold voice sounded in their ears. Since you're here to confess, you have to look like you're confessing. Why are you standing? Kneel down. The 6th update, ask for data. There will be no less updates, and the content will be more and more powerful. Chapter 50, Calling Grandpa. I can afford it. But unfortunately, I Can&amp #039T forgive. Hearing this voice, the two looked at each other. For a while, I didn't know what to do, but the faces of the two must be ugly. Although they came to explain to the Rockefeller family, they apologized and even pleaded guilty. But in their understanding, apology is not the way. Kneeling as soon as you come in? Is this taking them as slaves during the feudal dynasty? As the saying goes, if you reach out your hand, you won't hit the smiling person. In their opinion, they are willing to take the initiative to come to apologize, which is already very face to the Rockefeller family. According to the principle of reciprocity, the Rockefeller family should also sell them a face. The two parties sit down and have a good talk. Even if they are not given a seat, the two of them should be equal in terms of personality. Instead of making them kneel as soon as they meet, this is trampling on their personality. Scholar can be killed but not humiliated. Even if they die, they will not kneel. Just as the two were thinking about it, a gunshot rang out. I saw an anti-gravity drone unceremoniously fired 2 bullets. Immediately pierced their thighs. The severe pain caused the two to take a deep breath. However, their bodies fell to the ground unsatisfactorily, looking extremely embarrassed. Tusk tusk, I thought you guys were made of iron. It turns out that you will get hurt too. Look, this is not kneeling, Locke said, looking at Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff with a mocking expression. Young and frivolous, unscrupulous, and lawless is no doubt. Domineering and crazy. Next time, bullets won't just hit you in the thigh, they'll smash you into a sieve. Next, every word I say, you better listen to your heart and respond in a timely manner. Because I don't know if the drone suspended in front of you will judge that your response is timed out, and then let you game over directly. After all, AI doesn't care who you are. Locke folded Erlang's legs, leaned forward slightly, crossed his palms against his chin, and looked very relaxed. Compared to the horrified faces of Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff, what a world of difference. His eyes that were like black gems were full of disdain. A super agent of SHIELD who can do things with the banner of exercising justice outside without restraint. At this moment, in front of Locke, he was like a child, unable to resist. If this is spread out, it will definitely shock everyone. Is this still the SHIELD in their impression of being above the law and acting decisively? This is too hip. When they heard Locke's words, Nick Fury and Natasha Romanoff gritted their teeth, but their hearts were turned upside down. They always thought that the woman who slaughtered the Kim and Building and Pierce, the secretary of the World Security Council, was the boss they were looking for. But now it seems that they have been in the wrong direction all the time. How detached the Rockefeller family is. Rich enough to rival many countries, and means to reach the sky. It is the most terrifying keyball force on this planet. Just in the hall where they are at the moment, the level of guests they meet is higher than that of their country's White House. How could such a detached existence allow an unknown woman to enter and exit their territory, and still be above their Rockefeller family? This is simply a daydream, whimsical. So obviously, this woman should be the thug of the Rockefeller family. The real talker should be the Rockefeller family. What they never imagined was that this person was the 14-year-old young master of their family. How can that be? Exclamation. If they hadn't heard it with their own eyes and seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have believed it anyway. But Locke doesn't care if they believe it or not. He just wants to take care of them now to relieve his dissatisfaction. Tell me, whose idea was it to reach out to Gwen? Locke looked at the two with a cold expression. The two held the wound on their thigh tightly, but luckily the bullet didn't hit their artery. Otherwise, they should have received their lunch immediately. Now they can hold the wound tightly for a while, which also gives them a chance to answer Locke's question. Rock first. Same. How should I call you? Roar. Nick Fury wanted to call Mr. Rock, but thinking of his age, it seems that Mr. is not very suitable. But it seems inappropriate to be called a classmate. The guy in front of him is so cruel. How can he be a classmate? Comrade is almost the same, but there is no such name in their country. So, he is a little confused. Grandpa, I can afford it, Locke said jokingly, looking at Nick Fury. Master Locke, the order was given by me and carried out by Natasha Romanoff. I'm sorry we offended you, but it wasn't our intention. I aborted the order the first time, and will never do it again, Nick Fury said, frowning together. The loss of blood made him look a little weak. He had to bandage the wound, or he might really die. So, should I forgive you? Locke sneered and asked back. As a SHIELD who guards the safety of this world and handles abnormal events. When an abnormal time is discovered, no matter who the other party is, we should confirm the threat level to the world as soon as possible. The offense to you is really unintentional, I hope to understand, and I hope you can forgive me. Nick Fury looked at Locke with a solemn face and said, as the director of SHIELD, he has his due persistence. However, Locke didn't like his insistence. Shaking his head, a cold light flashed in his cold eyes. Without speaking, he raised his fingers slightly and made a shooting motion at Nick Fury. Then, only a gunshot sounded, and the anti-gravity drone fired a bullet again. This time, the bullet went straight through Nick Fury's right shoulder, knocking him upside down. A terrifying shot that shattered Nick Fury's shoulder. A painful groan came out of Nick Fury's mouth, and then his head tilted and he passed out completely. Unfortunately, I can't forgive. Lao Mo, throw him out, Locke said coldly, and then his eyes moved to Natasha Romanoff. A new day, the atmosphere is up. Ask for data. Chapter 51. You are beautiful, but unfortunately, the game has begun. Locke's thunderous tactics shocked Natasha Romanoff even more. She never imagined that this 14-year-old boy would be so cruel. In just a few gestures, the leader of their SHIELD was abolished. Those 2 gunshot wounds were enough to kill Nick Fury. Even if you are lucky enough to survive, your severely injured body will take a long period of time to recuperate. During this period of time, the position of SHIELD director is likely to change hands. This is no less than an earthquake for their SHIELD. And the initiator of this earthquake was the boy who turned his attention to himself at this moment. It's just that this boy is completely different from the 14-year-old child she imagined. Locke is tall and handsome, and there is a sense of sophistication between his eyebrows that does not match his age. The guy in front of him is really just a 14-year-old boy, instead of an old monster. She is skeptical. Just when she had doubts in her heart, Locke, who was sitting on the throne, slowly got up. With a mocking smile on his face, he walked in front of her leisurely. The tall figure slowly enveloped her, and she, who was kneeling on the ground in pain, looked up. Suddenly, a strange feeling appeared in her heart, which made her blush and lowered her head. Before, she was very disdainful of Locke at such an age, thinking that he was just a child. But the scene at the moment made her understand that what Phil Coulson said was right. The young man in front of him could really do anything. At this moment, a big hand pinched her pretty face and then lifted her up rudely. A handsome face with a playful smile met her eyes. She frowned. What does this 14-year-old boy want to do? You look really good. No wonder so many men bow down under your skirt. It's a pity. Say, what should I do with you? Locke looked at Natasha Romanoff with a half-smile, his eyes unbridled without any reservation. Being stared at by Locke like this, Rao was an open-minded woman, and she couldn't stand it, and wanted to bow her head in embarrassment. It was the first time she had been treated like this by a 14-year-old. This feeling is very embarrassing, but she feels a little stimulation deep in her heart. What's wrong with me? Natasha Romanoff couldn't believe it. He found himself unable to express anger towards this teenager. Gently letting go of the hand holding Natasha Romanoff's pretty face, Locke grabbed her neck and lifted her directly. In front of his power, Natasha Romanoff in front of him is a lamb to be slaughtered. The left hand grabbed Natasha Romanoff's leather bodysuit unceremoniously and stabbed. Suddenly, Locke's eyes lit up, but then he shook his head. Compared with his own Miss 2B and the commander's eldest sister, it was far behind. The sudden action stunned Natasha Romanoff, screaming and struggling, but to no avail. At this moment, a healing spray temporarily bandaged the wound on her fair thigh. Natasha Romanoff looked stunned. Did this guy treat himself so rudely just to bandage his wounds? Before she was too happy, Locke threw her heavily on the sofa in the distance. The powerful force slammed the sofa onto the ground and slid for a distance. Don't get me wrong, I'll wrap it up for you, just so that we can play the next game for a longer time. Locke sneered. Then the door and the windows closed automatically, and the solemn reception hall turned directly into a cage. Looking at such a scene, a bad premonition appeared in Natasha Romanoff's heart, and a sense of despair enveloped her. Suddenly, a memory fragment of the Red House flashed in her mind unconsciously. That was her unbearable past, and the scene back then was exactly the same as here. Snapped. At this moment, The sound of a whip twitching pulled her back from the terrifying memory back to the real world. I saw that the young man in front of him, like a demon, appeared in front of him holding a long leather whip. Before she could react, a fiery red mark appeared on her back. The burning pain made her gasp, and she couldn't help but let out a painful scream. After a few hours, on a mountain road near the secret base of SHIELD, Fort Johnson, a woman with only broken underwear was thrown from a car. Rolling all the way to the side of the road, the woman opened her eyes slightly. Her eyes were full of exhaustion and complexity, and the scenes just now flashed in her mind like a movie. Feeling ashamed and angry, full of killing intent appeared in her heart, her fists clenched unconsciously, her fingernails sinking deep into flesh and blood. With red marks on her back, she clutched her chest and stood up staggeringly, but before she could take a step, she fell down again. Then go into a coma. Exclamation. This woman is none other than Black Widow Natasha Romanoff. Exclamation. Ask for some flowers. Evaluation. Monthly pass. Thanks a lot. Chapter 52 Future plans start. What to wear to the party. Why don&amp #039T. I show you all of them. Rockefeller Manor. Locke quietly leaned on the soft sofa, his eyes slightly empty. The corner of his mouth kept an evil smile, and the scene just now was still playing repeatedly in his mind. As expected of Black Widow, it was really different. His whipping punished her, but it also made her hurt and happy. What a pity. Locke shook his head with a half-smile, touched the sweaty sofa, and his smile gradually became wild. A few days have passed. On this day, in the quiet study, Locke was still writing and drawing. Although he has wisdom that is unattainable for ordinary people today, his good memory is not as good as a bad pen, and sometimes the friction between the pen and the paper will make it easier for him to calm down. This time, Locke did not write the names of DC characters, but wrote down the big events she knew in her mind. Then connect them one by one, and finally make a mind map. According to his research, although this world is different from the main Marvel universe that he imagines, but the big events that should happen will still be staged as scheduled, such as the appearance of Iron Man, the appearance of Spider-Man. All these made Locke understand that he still had the advantage of poor information. Therefore, he naturally has to make good use of his advantage of being one step ahead of others so that he can walk ahead of others. It's probably still in the Iron Man 1 timeline, and it won't be long before news from Hulk comes out. Then Iron Man 2, Thor 1, Captain America 1, and then, a year later, the Battle of New York. Locke muttered as the pen continued to fly on the paper. Extract the main information. Iron Man 1, Iron King, Arc Reactor. Hulk 1, Hulk Serum, Abomination, Doctor. Blue. Iron Man 2, Unmanned Mechanical Armor, Ivan Vank, Hammer Industries, New Elements. Thor 1, Bifrost, Mjolnir, Asgard's Vault. Captain America 1, Captain America's Butt. Battle of New York, Chitauri Army, Starship, Space Gem. In a few minutes, Locke sorted out the context of these major events. Then list them one by one, and soon a relationship diagram about the future will appear in front of you. Eliminate the elements that have no effect on him, and in the end he only leaves a few that are most useful to him. Hulk Serum Doctor. Blue. A man mechanical armor Ivan Vank Military Enterprises Hammer Starship. Space Gems. Looking at the blueprint in his hand, Locke's face showed satisfaction. For the next year, he needs to combine the commander's white paper with his own list of elements. In the fastest time, the plan of the commander's elder sister will be implemented until it is realized. Suddenly, a detailed and perfect action plan was generated in his mind. After calling Miss Commander in, Locke decided to start implementing her plan. The commander's eldest sister, who was dressed in a light yellow tight-fitting high-slit long skirt and a pair of white silk and long legs, came to Locke tenderly. "Master, are you looking for me?" The commander had a smile on his lips as usual, with both hands on the desk, bent over and looked at Locke quietly. The reason why she likes this is because it can be closer to Locke's handsome face, and at the same time, it can meet Locke's need to see the scenery. According to the rules of the robot code, she felt it was necessary to do it, and Locke liked her to do it, and that was enough. Shaking his head with a wry smile, he looked at the commander's elder sister's mature and charming face very honestly. It's not that he is no longer interested in the commander's big sister, but that he is afraid that he will not be able to control it again in the end. When the time comes, it will not be too good to miss a gun. After all, it is bright and sunny now. Your white paper plan, it's time to start, Locke said with a smile. Really? That's great. Is it all the plan? The commander said with a smile. Yes, all the plans, but some of these plans need some changes. Locke said. You said, young master, I will come strictly according to your requirements. As long as I provide enough financial resources and manpower, I will achieve my goal on time. Hee, I believe you have such ability. Locke smiled and told the commander of his plans in detail. Hammer Industries? I understand. If it's true, as the young master said, then the problem of our lack of production lines for manufacturing mechas and auxiliary robots should be solved quickly. It's just that the only outer space base will take longer and be more difficult, the commander said thoughtfully. You don't have to worry about that. I'll take care of building an outer space base. All you have to do is take care of the humanoid mechs and build a ton of assistive robots. I'm still missing a rare material to build a strong Yoba Army. I have already told 2B about this, and he is already on his way to perform his mission. I believe there will be news soon, said Locke. Understood. Big Sister Commander nodded. At this time, Locke seemed to think of something. By the way, there is a commercial party tonight. I didn't want to participate in this kind of thing. However, among the people who appeared today, there is Justin Hammer, so I need you to accompany me when the time comes. This time, you will be the business manager of our Rockefeller family. And I'm just a kid who goes out to play with my commander's eldest sister. Locke laughed. Hearing this, the commander's elder sister looked at Locke with a smile on her face. Master, you are not small at all. As she spoke, she crossed the desk and sat lightly in Locke's arms. Master, let me have a look at the clothes I need for the party. Sister, I'm a little difficult to choose. I don't know what to wear. Why don't I wear them all for you to see? Saying that, she took Locke's hand and walked towards the bedroom. Seeing this, Locke didn't know whether to laugh or cry. If he knew, he wouldn't talk about the party. The vote you cast with your hands is the driving force for me to code words excitedly all day. Ask for data. Chapter 53. You can rub your wife with your hands. Do you care about that? After explaining the future plans to the commander's elder sister, and helping her choose a satisfactory evening dress, Locke, it's a bit empty. Rather than simply picking clothes, the commander's figure is too perfect, so that no matter what clothes you wear, they are all beautiful, just like a clothes rack. For perfect things, Locke always pursues something. Excessive pursuit will only make himself trapped in it in the end, unable to extricate himself. So tired here. After finally getting the commander, Lao Mo came to Locke with his latest news. So, there are no people I'm looking for in these places? Locke said with a sigh of relief. Yes, there are no people you mentioned, young master. We only found the information of Selina Kyle. Lao Mo looked at Locke respectfully and said, I see. Locke nodded silently, his face relaxed. He always thought that this world had been linked with DC, but the news that Lao Mo brought back now dispelled his doubts in this regard. It seems that Selina Kyle is really just a coincidence, but this coincidence is too fantastic. It looks too similar to Catwoman in the DC world. Locke took the information about Selina Kyle handed over by Lao Mo and began to look through it slowly. Reporter? There was a hint of surprise on Locke's face when he saw that Selina's occupation was actually a reporter. Yes, New York Times special correspondent. This woman is kind of interesting. She often helps people at the bottom to expose the ugly face of the upper class. The reported objects were all powerful guys, so they offended many people. But her family background is not bad. Her father is the owner of a toy factory in New York, and the business is quite big. Of course, she is not cheap, so she is not afraid of fighting against power, and she doesn't care if she has a salary or not. Lao Mo said with a smile, admiring Selena very much. So, she is also a police officer? Locke muttered to himself with a meaningful smile on his face. Although the Selena of this world is not the Catwoman of the DC world, the things they do are somewhat similar. One is a vigilante reporter who exposes crimes, and the other is a thief in Junjie&amp who robs the rich to help the poor. What you do is to offend the rich. Is this a physique destined to hate the rich? Thinking of this, he couldn't help but think of himself. If he was so rich, would it also trigger her special physique and fight against him? Definitely, this is just a joke idea. Now that she knows that she is not a Catwoman in the DC world, there is no need for him to interact with her. Casually put Selena's information on the table, and his eyes moved to Lao Mo's body again. Then he threw a plan in front of him. Look, this matter is highly confidential. Don't disclose it to anyone, just do it in secret, and strive to complete it as soon as possible. While listening to Locke's words, Lao Mo seriously looked at the plan that Locke had thrown. Immediately, his face was shocked, and a huge wave was set off in his heart. Build a space base. Master, are you serious? Lao Mo looked at Locke in disbelief and said, So you think I'm joking with you now? It's definitely true. Although it is not impossible to build this thing with the strength of our family. But this thing is usually done in the name of the country, and it doesn't make much sense for us to build it privately. Master, what do you want to do? Lao Mo looked at Locke in astonishment and asked. Since the old man left, he has become more and more uncertain about the path of his young master. An underground laboratory was established, and 2 robots that looked like real human beings were built, and it was just a matter of singing every night. Now you are planning to get a private outer space base. Is this the rhythm of conquering the Earth? How did he know that Locke wanted to conquer more than just a small Earth? His goal is even grander, and his journey is a vast sea of stars and stars. Just do it if you want to. Why is there so much nonsense? Find a place for me, build a launch base first, and leave the rest to me. Understood, I'll go get it now. By the way, Tony Stark will also attend the banquet tonight. Lao Mo said suddenly. Oh, the Forced King will also come, but this is normal. He has just become Iron Man, and it is the time when he is in the limelight. With his character, it is unreasonable not to come out and pretend. Locke said unexpectedly. Hee. It seems that the young master has a lot of opinions on Tony, the playboy. Lao Mo laughed. Opinion? That's not true, it's just a little uncomfortable. Half of the top models in Playboy magazine had an affair with him. Like today's party, whenever you meet a famous lady, you probably roll over the sheets with him. Isn't this disgusting? He is a small boss of Stark Industrial Group with a small history, and his record is better than mine. Where should I put my face on your young master? Lao Mo. Master, it's not impossible. Let's not have such a record. Besides, you can rub your wife's hands, so do you care about that? Damn old man, why do you sound so harsh? You can't find death. Hey, young master, I'll go to work first. Lao Mo smeared oil on his feet and quickly evacuated. Time turned and it was night. The banquet hall of the Notre Dame Theater is exceptionally brightly lit today, and celebrities from all walks of life have gathered here. At the entrance of the theater, a group of security personnel in black uniforms were waiting in full force, and received one luxury car after another in an extremely orderly manner. At the gate, reporters from all walks of life took long guns and short cannons and kept taking pictures of the VIPs who came down from the luxury cars. The scene is no less than the red carpet in the entertainment industry, but the people who come here are super rich with billions of dollars. However, for a party that was very grand and luxurious in the eyes of outsiders, to Locke, it seemed a little petty. He didn't want to come to such a party. But considering the Justin Hammer and Tony Stark he wanted to see were there today, he just came reluctantly because according to his guess, tonight, it should be the time of the Iron Man vs. Iron Man event, and he might be able to get a big event here by coming here. This will allow her to collect points again. Such a good thing, why not do it? Chapter 54 Miss 2B Who Started Killing, Who is Klau? Ask for flowers and reviews. Los Angeles is still brightly lit at night. As one of the largest cities in the United States, it is also a city that never sleeps. On the top floor of a brightly lit building in the west, a bearded man was smoking a cigar and resting his legs on the long table in front of him. On the table, there are stacks of banknotes. There are a total of tens of thousands of USD. The amount cannot be said to be huge, but for him personally, it is already a lot of income. These are the goods I bought from the Bear Country. They are of good quality and low price. They are definitely good things that you have never experienced before. It's really cheap to sell you 50,000, the man said with a smile while puffing out a cigarette. From his eyes he could see his pride and pride. Several black men standing opposite him nodded silently while checking the weapons in their hands. Very good. This time the transaction is very pleasant. I think we will have the opportunity to cooperate next time. Then it's a pleasure to cooperate next time, ahaha. The man laughed wildly, reaching out and shaking hands with the man in front of him. Several black men nodded, picked up the black box with guns and weapons and planned to leave. But at this moment, the door of the room they were in was quickly knocked open. Immediately, a little brother hurried in. Boss, boss. Not good. The younger brother was too anxious, panting, and couldn't say a word completely, and the man listening was very irritable. What's the matter? In a hurry? Hurry up, or I will shoot you. The man picked up the gun in his hand and aimed it at his little brother. I don't know if it was because he was frightened by the man's gun pointing, or because he was out of breath. He quickly said, a woman rushed in and started killing people without saying a word. Most of our people have died, and that woman is a devil. Now she is coming towards our level. Boss, what should we do? The younger brother looked terrified. He had no masters, and the whole person was completely panicked. He had been in this business for some days. He has seen a lot of big scenes, but this time he has really never seen it. It was really terrifying. The woman came in with a long sword and said she was looking for their boss. Then, because the woman was very beautiful, their brother whistled and molested. It's just a whistle, and no actual action has been launched yet. Who knew that this woman directly drew her sword and chopped off the whistleblower's head? After that, this woman was like the devil who triggered the massacre, treating their people as green vegetables and radishes all the way, and chopped them all down. In this way, he had to flee in panic and came to the level of their boss. So, there is the current scene. What? You bastards, you can't even handle a woman, shoot her to death. The man roared angrily, his eyes full of anger. And just as her voice fell to the ground, screams mixed with the sound of flesh and blood rang from outside the door. Listening to it makes my scalp tingle and my back cold. Boom! With a loud bang, the door of the room they were in was kicked and smashed to the ground. Immediately, a strange woman in a black cloak, a blindfold, and a long sword walked in from the door. This woman is none other than Miss 2B. Not long ago, he received Locke's latest order to go to Los Angeles to find an arms dealer named Ulysses Crow. Then find the message to Wakanda from his mouth, and get some ready-made vibranium from his hand. The content of the mission is very simple as long as the information is obtained. She also planned to do so at the beginning, but just now, someone in the group whistled at her, which was obviously meant to be molested. And in the eyes of Miss 2B, This is an unforgivable sin. Because for her, the only person in this world who can tease her is her creator, Locke. If anyone else dared to do so, it would be a capital offense. All must be killed. Exclamation, she thought so, and did it. So the original small task has now become a slaughter operation. Who is Ulysses Crow? Miss 2B slowly put away the long sword in her hand, suspended it behind her, opened her mouth, and asked. Looking at Miss 2B in front of her, Crow looked curious and terrified. I'm curious because I don't know the woman in front of me at all, so what is the purpose of this woman to find me? Fright is naturally the terrifying strength that Miss 2B is showing at the moment. He killed all his subordinates by himself, and came to him as if he was no one. This kind of scene and bridge, even the movie dare not act like this, but at this moment it really happened in front of his eyes. So, how could he not be terrified? Who are you? Klau looked at Miss 2B suspiciously and asked. Hearing this, Miss 2B smiled coldly. Understood, you are Crow, then there is no need for these people to exist. The voice fell, and the auxiliary robot suspended beside her shot out a few bullets. Suddenly, in the huge room, Ulysses Crow was left alone. My eyes are dizzy when I write. I ask for some data, take a break, and continue. Chapter 55. Junjie&amp #039S arms dealer seeking flowers and evaluation. Looking at the subordinates and the buyer who were killed by the woman in front of him in an instant, the panic on Claude's face became stronger and stronger. The woman in front of her was really weird, and the long sword was suspended behind her out of thin air. At this moment, there was a strange flight object suspended beside him, such a high-tech weapon and equipment he had never seen before. He is a famous arms dealer, and there are only a handful of weapons he has never seen in this world. And this woman is one of them. Definitely, the reason for his panic is not just because of the powerful weapons and equipment on Miss 2B. The main reason is that 2B's ruthless and terrifying means, without saying a word, will kill people directly if you do it directly. This is completely a dead god of killing. No wonder his subordinate just now called this woman a devil, and now it seems to be true. Swallowing his saliva, Crow couldn't help but retreat toward the window. If possible, he would rather jump from here than face this terrifying woman. However, Miss 2B is naturally impossible for him to succeed. She flew thousands of miles from New York, but in order to complete the task assigned by the creator, she can then go home to receive the reward. Looking at the time, it was already past 7 o'clock in the evening. After completing this task, he had to rush back to New York. Then take a shower, get ready, change into the tutor's clothes, etc., which all take time. It is best to be in bed on time by 10 p.m. In this way, I can get the reward of the young master, and at the same time, it will not delay the rest of the young master. It is simply killing two birds with one stone. Thinking of this, she felt more and more pressed for time. She had to complete the task quickly and then go home, otherwise the young master would be monopolized by the commander's sister. If I were you, I wouldn't want to jump out of the window to escape, because it will only make you die faster. Miss 2B said while walking towards Crow. Don't come here. Who are you and what do you want to do? If you want money or weapons, I can give you all of these. Just please spare my life, Crow said and threw all the money on the table. 2B's feet. Looking at the stacks of banknotes on the ground, Miss 2B's face was full of disdain. The guy in front of him actually thought he was here to rob her, which was an insult to her. Her creator is Locke, and the most important thing is money. Pointy high-heeled shoes walked over the banknotes, looking at Crow's eyes more and more icy. Do you think I've gone to great lengths to come here just for your 3 melons and 2 dates? If I wanted to rob, when I killed Jin Bing, I would have been able to get more money than I could spend in my life. What is this drizzle of yours? Miss 2B said mockingly. Very casual words, but it gave Klau shocking news. The woman in front of him turned out to be the murderer of Jin Bing. As a well-known arms dealer, Jin Bian naturally knows who it is that is the underworld emperor in New York and even the whole country. With such an existence, one can imagine how much energy he possesses. Rao, the arms chief, has to bow down before Jin Bing. But now this woman actually killed Jin Bing, and she still slaughtered the entire Jin Bing building, without a single survivor. When he heard the news, he was as shocked as other colleagues. But he never imagined that one day he would directly face the murderer who killed Jin Bing. Immediately, he was cowardly and knelt down with his legs disobedient. "What do you want? As long as I can take it out, I can give it to you. As long as it's not my life," Crow said with a complicated expression. It's the first time he's been so ignorant after coming out for so many years, that he would kneel in front of a woman on his own initiative. If this is spread out, he can completely stop messing around. But if he didn't do it at the moment, he couldn't guarantee whether he could continue to live. Such a comparison, which is lighter and which is heavier, is clear at a glance. Seeing Crow behave like this, Miss 2B couldn't help showing a satisfied smile on her face. She likes this guy who knows the current affairs, because it doesn't waste her time. It's easy, a roadmap to Wakanda, and all the vibranium you have. As long as you hand it in truthfully, Miss Ben will take it and leave. If not, then I can only read your memory by myself. While speaking, Miss 2B took out the mechanical bug that extracted the memory. Looking at the mechanical bug in Miss 2B's hand, Crow was frightened. Although he didn't know what the mechanical bug was. But at a glance, you can see that it is not a good thing, and it can read memory, which is not against the sky. How painful the process of this thing reading memory is, I won't describe it more. One word, life is better than death. So before Miss 2B could finish speaking, Crow climbed to his desk on his knees. He swishly wrote down the directions to Wakanda in paper money and then pulled a suitcase from under his desk. Then, the 5 bodies were thrown to the ground and sent the thing to 2B. Everything you want is here, and you will be able to find me by your means, so I will never dare to lie to you. The person who knows the current affairs is Junjie. You are very good, but the death penalty can be avoided, but the life penalty is inevitable, Miss 2B said, and kicked Klau, who was crawling in front of him, with one kick. This kick is to punish you for not being able to discipline your subordinates. Next time, I will kill you. As Miss 2B said, the anti-gravity drone beside her smashed the floor-to-ceiling windows. And she turned into an afterimage and flew out directly, and in an instant, she reached an altitude of 10,000 meters and galloped towards New York. Looking at the back of Miss 2B, who flew away, Klau held the table and slowly got up. But his legs were trembling. He tried to light a cigar to relieve the tension in his heart, but his hands were shaking so much that he couldn't even cut the cigar. Fake. He angrily threw the cigar in his hand to the ground and let out a roar of anger. Today's 6th update. The total update is 1.2 W. It should not be too small. No, go to sleep. Everyone look at the data. Continue tomorrow. Chapter 56 Can&amp #039T Take pictures. Say important things 3 times. Exclamation ask for flowers and review. New York. The banquet hall of the Notre Dame Theater is now full of stars, and the gatherings of business leaders are always accompanied by celebrities in the entertainment industry. For ordinary people, a star is a bright, even aloof existence. But for the business tycoons, they are nothing but slaves under capital and alternative prostitutes packaged. As long as you have money, you can still trade. Money can make ghosts run the mill. It's a very simple truth. Wow, it's a young actress who recently won the Locke Newcomer King Award. She's so pretty, but the old man around her is a little disgusting. Haha, what kind of a rookie king is the old man beside her is the protagonist, and the others are oil tycoons. You can train as many rookie kings as you want. Isn't that an actress who has been out of film for more than a year? I heard that she married a real estate boss, and she appeared today. Thanks to her marrying a real estate boss. Otherwise, how could she have a chance to attend today's party? But I heard that her husband is a sadist and likes to play some perverted games. True or false? We can dig deeper into this news. Maybe tomorrow's headlines will be ours. What are you thinking? You want to die? If you make news about this real estate tycoon, you will die on the street tomorrow. This guy eats both black and white. Watching the men and women getting off the luxury cars one after another, the lace reporters who were blocking the entrance of the theater were chatting and talking. All the gossip news in the beautiful country is made by these guys. In this age of entertainment to death, their contribution cannot be underestimated. At this moment, an extended version of the expensive commercial vehicle slowly stopped at the entrance of the theater. Immediately after the door opened, a slender and beautiful leg was first exposed, followed by a waist like a water snake, wrapped in a black evening dress, revealed in front of people. The noble, mature, and charming face immediately appeared, which immediately made everyone present widen their eyes. As a group of reporters of Lace News, what kind of beauties they have never seen. But at this moment, this stunning beauty walked out of the car, and they were all shocked. How can such a fairy-like woman appear in the world? It is absolutely amazing! The flash kept flashing, and all the reporters present seemed to want to use the cameras in their hands to imprison the commander. Yes, the woman who came down is none other than Locke's commander's eldest sister. What a beautiful woman! How come I've never heard of it before? This is simply a fairy. It's over. I feel like I've fallen. This woman will be the only goddess in my heart. Hurry up and take some more photos. Go home and enjoy it slowly. A group of people talked a lot, and they were very excited. Surrounded by a lot of flashing lights, the commander frowned. Obviously, she didn't like such a scene. In her heart, she belongs only to the creator, and the behavior of these guys in front of her is already considered a great offense. No wonder his young master doesn't like to attend this kind of party, and now she doesn't like it either. Just as she frowned, her young master, Locke, was getting off the car unhurriedly and came to her side. The right hand habitually grabbed her waist, and she suddenly felt a strange feeling. The originally wrinkled brows gradually stretched, revealing a fascinated smile. It seems that my commander's sister doesn't like being photographed. Locke muttered, his eyes cold in vain. Rockefeller, it's Rockefeller's eldest young master. Turn off the camera. Stop taking pictures. Stop taking pictures. Sheet, delete all the photos quickly. I don't want to die. My mother, how could the crown prince suddenly attend a party of this level? It's unscientific. Just as Locke appeared, several old reporters said quickly, their eyes full of horror. As the dedicated reporters of the business party, they are very clear about the hidden rules here. They did not expect that the crown prince of a top keyball family like Rockefeller would attend such a mid-end business party for the first time today. You must know that before this, there was no such precedent at all, and the only thing that could allow the Rockefeller family to participate was that kind of world-class party. The family background of the attendees starts with at least 100 billion USD, and they are the leaders of various industries or the leaders of the country. So in comparison, the so-called top-level business party in front of me is really just average. As for the Rockefeller family, there is an unwritten rule in their circle. That is, without permission, you can't take pictures, you can't take pictures, you can't take pictures, and important things are said 3 times. Because 80% of the news media present are their family's business, that is to say, they are all Locke's workers. So at this moment, when they found out that they had taken a photo of Rockefeller's wife and daughter, their first reaction was to delete it quickly. They didn't want to bother them. But before they start deleting photos, on Locke's side his consciousness moved, and suddenly the artificial intelligence watch on his hand burst out with invisible electronic energy. Bang, bang, bang! A series of explosions sounded immediately, followed by a series of screams. The cameras of everyone present exploded and smoked, and the chip memory was all destroyed. Looking at the scene that immediately fell into chaos, Locke smiled slightly. How is it, Commander Sister? Are you satisfied? Satisfied, as usual, extremely satisfied. the commander said with a blushing face, looking at Locke's eyes full of admiration. Hee, you're naughty again. With a smile, Locke took the commander's slender hand and walked towards the party hall. Good morning. A new update has started. Data. Chapter 57 Master. Come. Ask for flowers and reviews. Locke has an aura of a supreme king on his body, and his eyes like black gems shine, making people look like they are looking down on the world. The beautiful face looks as if it had been carefully carved, elegant and noble, like a prince in an ancient court, and it is extravagant. Looking at Locke like this, the group of women around them all fell into a sluggish state. Their eyes brightened, and the children's inappropriate pictures of Prince Charming and the princess were made up by their own brains. Is this the prince of the Rockefeller family? I heard that he is only 14 years old. How can he be so handsome, and his temperament is compelling? I have fallen. This damn charm. This is a real prince, love. Such a noble and handsome man. Even if he is only 14 years old, I am willing to let him ravage. At the age of 14, it's not too small to say that he is small. Judging by Mr. Locke's tall and straight body and strong muscles, he is definitely not small. What are you thinking? Compare yourself with the women around Mr. Locke and see how much you weigh and how much you are ravaged. You are also worthy of it. It's just talk. It's not illegal to be obsessed. I'll go home and dream. A group of women whispered and chatted, and some of their conversations were naturally heard by Locke and the commander. Suddenly, the commander looked at Locke with a smile on his face. It seems that my young master has become the Prince Charming in the hearts of many women. What a joy. Prince Charming belongs to me now, said the commander proudly. Locke smiled wryly and shook his head. This woman's vanity. It's really not that strong. Soon, the two walked into the banquet hall. Watching Locke's arrival, a group of security personnel immediately looked solemn at the walkie-talkie. Immediately, a white-haired old man came to Locke respectfully. Master Locke, it's our honor to be able to attend our party today. Brilliance. We have prepared a special rest room for you. The party still needs a little time to start. You can go upstairs to rest first. This old man is none other than the organizer of this business party and the president of the Beautiful Country Business Association. In order to improve the quality of the party, she sent an invitation letter to Butler Moe of the Rockefeller family with the mentality of giving it a try. It was just a try, but he didn't expect the other party to agree, which surprised him a bit. In the past, the Rockefeller family rarely participated in such parties. Even if they participated, they were all the heads of an industry under the Rockefeller family. It's really incredible to be able to directly invite Master Locke like today. So, it is normal for him to have such rhetoric now. Nodding, Locke took the commander to the rest room on the second floor. Although the party is a place for communication, it is also divided into people. The eldest young master of a family like Locke does not need to participate in this kind of nutritious communication at all. There are countless excellent managers in their family to take care of business matters, and he only needs to be in charge of the general direction. Besides, he still has a commander by his side, and he will let the commander take over the family affairs in the later period. As the commander of the Yoba Army, it should not be too difficult for her to use her talents to manage a business empire. Walking into the rest room specially prepared by the organizer, Locke looked satisfied, a very luxurious business office. Coming to the floor-to-ceiling windows, you can clearly see everything in the banquet hall through the glass. Looking at the crowd below, Locke took the Romani Conti red wine handed over by the old man and took a sip. Nice wine, you can retire, Locke said lightly. The old man nodded and said respectfully, Master Locke, you should rest first, and when the party starts, you still need to show your face. What do you think? Looking at the group of so-called celebrities who greeted politely below, Locke smiled, and a supreme aura that looked down on the world was looming. The so-called celebrity in front of him is nothing but this. Just a turkey dog. But since he's here, he should show his face. Nodded. Seeing Locke nod, the president of the business association was overjoyed. It was a great honor to be able to invite Locke to the party, and it was also a highlight for his career. It would be better if Locke could make an appearance at the party and say a few words later. Okay, then I'll step back first. Master Locke has a good rest. Someone will come to inform you later. You can stay here and signal it in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. This is one-way glass. Now we can see the outside here, but we can't see the inside from the outside, but after adjusting it, we can see in both directions. The old man explained it and left respectfully. Suddenly, Locke and the commander were left in the room. Back on the sofa from the floor-to-ceiling window, Locke closed his eyes and waited for the good show. But at this time, the commander's elder sister walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, looked at the surging crowd below, and smiled. What about one-way glass? As he spoke, the commander lightly pressed his hands on the floor-to-ceiling windows, and his slender and straight legs stretched out from his high-slit black evening dress. Under the light, concave and convex silhouettes with hazy beauty are scattered in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows. Master, are you coming? Locke stunned. Your uncle's monthly pass for flower evaluation. Come. Exclamation. Chapter 58. Young Master, he really hates it. Teach him a lesson. Ask for flowers and reviews. Seeing the tall commander's elder sister leaning over and pressing on the floor-to-ceiling glass, Locke smiled wryly and shook his head. This woman is really courageous. Does she think this is home, and she can come if she wants? It's not long before the party starts. And once he starts, it is not so easy to stop. When the party ends, he may not be able to end it, so he will definitely not be able to come. Get up and come behind her. Raising his hand with a snap, the momentum is heavy and the movement is shocking. The commander let out a scream, bit his lip lightly, and his face became more and more arrogant and charming. My commander's sister, be serious. Locke walked to the commander's side, looked at the crowd below with deep eyes, and then his eyes stopped on a middle-aged man. Are you here? Locke smiled lightly and gently removed the dishonest hand of the commander's elder sister. Giggling came from the mouth of the commander's elder sister, and Feng Yu's body leaned against Locke's back like a hill. Master, your body is still very honest. The commander laughed. Okay, I won't tease you. Do you want him to come up? The commander also shifted his gaze to the middle-aged man. This middle-aged man is none other than one of their targets this time, Justin Hammer. In fact, with Justin's rank, he is not qualified to let Locke come to him in person. Locke came to this party today, and the main purpose was not him, but to witness the big event about Iron Man and collect some points. By the way, meet this old rival of Stark Industries Group, and then take it in your pocket. It is impossible to rely on his own small laboratory to build a large number of anti-gravity-assisted robots. And their Rockefeller family, because of the special insistence of the old man, has never touched the military industry, so this is a little embarrassing. However, this is not a big deal for Locke. With the energy of his family, it is as simple as drinking water to fully acquire a military-industrial group. In the past few days, several acquisition proposals have been placed on his desk, among which Hammer Industries is impressively listed, and Locke has the highest intention. As the main competitor of Stark Industries, Hammer Industries has not been able to compete with Stark Industries in the military industry over the years. However, the strength is also the existence of several military enterprises in the top rankings, which have contributed a lot to the national defense of the beautiful country in recent years. In addition to his strong strength, there is another reason for Locke to take a fancy to this guy, and that is his mad ambition to surpass Stark Industries. If you want to be used by him, it is absolutely impossible to have no ambition, and his own ambition is boundless. Therefore, it needs the ambition of other people to support it, and a group of ambitious doers can only shine with different brilliance. The so-called wolf nature is like that. No need for now, there will be time later. Locke picked up the glass and drank it all at once. Then he pressed the still dishonest commander on the floor-to-ceiling window, and a wall thump came. His domineering aura was like a heroic division. Seeing him like this, the commander giggled, winked like silk, and bit his lip. "Master, what's the matter? Are you coming?" The eyes are like autumn water, and the eyebrows are as far away. He raised his eyebrows and smiled. "Come on, how long is this time? When did you learn the set of 2B? Locke smiled helplessly. Sure enough, those who are close to the vermilion are red and those who are close to the ink are black, and they have only stayed with Miss 2B for a few days, and the elder sister of the commander in front of her has been damaged by her. When I go back today, I have to tidy up properly, Miss 2B. Giggle. 2B told me that sisters are of the same mind and they cut off gold, so we are one. As for this kind of thing, where do I still need to learn, sister? I'm such a person." The commander smiled, and although Locke held her hands down, she couldn't stop her flaming red lips from coming towards him. Seeing this, Locke didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but it's not a big deal. This kind of little fun between couples can be played. But at this moment, a startled roar sound came from outside. Interrupted the simple and intimate communication between the two. The commander looked out the window angrily. Immediately, he saw a golden red figure descend from the sky, and then landed firmly on the stage of the banquet hall in an extremely pretentious posture. "Wow, Iron Man, here comes Iron Man. What a cool steel armor. This should be the embodiment of the most advanced technology in our world. It's the perfect combination of ergonomics and mechanics. You didn't mention an artificial intelligence. The armor is indeed very good, but the people are not very good, forcing the king." At this time, Justin, who was holding a glass of red wine, said with a look of jealousy. As the main competitor of Stark Industries, Justin really has endless resentment for Tony Stark. Since this guy came out, with his smart brain, he has made countless weapons far beyond their hammer industries. In the field of military industry all the way, far ahead, this really makes him have to be jealous. It turned out to be Mr. Justin. Tony Stark recently announced his withdrawal from the military industry. Your resentment against him should be reduced. The oil tycoon beside him smiled and looked at Hammer and said jokingly, "The competition between Hammer Industries and Stark Industries is obvious to anyone with a discerning eye. Therefore, the resentment of Hammer can be felt by everyone. Cut. What if he doesn't quit? I can still surpass him at Hammer Industries." Hammer said confidently that although he is indeed behind in the competition in the industry, he must not lose his momentum. Business is a long-term thing, a momentary lead is nothing. Who can have the last laugh? Who can say? He has always comforted himself like this, and he actually knew that if Tony didn't quit the military industry, then they will never have a bright future for Hammer Industries. This is so because of a lack of talent. He lacks a talent as sophisticated as Tony Stark. Exclamation in the lounge, the commander was panting, and his skin went from pretty blushing all the way to his chest. "Damn guy, I finally know why you hate this guy, young master. He really hates it," the commander, who was disturbed for good things, said coldly. He, do you want to teach him a lesson?" Locke adjusted his collar and asked with a smile. "Definitely." The commander nodded with a cold expression on his face. "Very good. Watch it carefully. The good show has begun. Ask for some data. There must be 7 updates today. Bursting!" Exclamation. Chapter 59 in the launch of Artificial Intelligence 9's The Iron Man Special Edition of the Most Daz. For the character of Tony Stark, Locke's attitude is mixed. Tony's genius mind, he is admirable from the heart. The steel battlesuit pioneered, and the artificial intelligence JARVIS dominated. In the final battle with Thanos, he became a god in the first battle and became a mortal body that stood shoulder to shoulder with the gods. But no one is perfect, and Tony Stark is really powerless to complain about Tony Stark's character, who loves to pretend and show off. On the stage of the banquet hall, look at a group of men and women who are crazy about themselves under the stage. Tony Stark's vanity has been greatly satisfied, and he likes to stand on this stage, surrounded by countless flashes, and the feeling of being in the limelight. At this moment, he feels that the whole world belongs to him, especially being paid attention to by the kind of beautiful woman who has never communicated. That feeling is even better. But at this moment, Locke in the room tapped lightly on the watch on his wrist. Suddenly, an electronic synthesis female voice sounded in Locke's ears. Artificial Intelligence 9 is starting, Creator. What do you need me to do? Hearing the voice in his ear, Locke smiled and said softly, hack into Tony's armor control system. Understood, hacking is underway. The voice that Locke heard at this moment was the Artificial Intelligence 9's developed and built by Locke himself. And the prototype of this artificial intelligence is the scanning robot 9's in the mechanical era. 9's is the main character of the mechanical era, a scanning android whose official name is Yoba 9's type. Although it also has combat capabilities, it mainly uses hacking skills to collect various intelligence. Therefore, he has super high hacking skills, which is regarded as the top existence of hacking technology in the mechanical era world. However, the S-type has built a curious nervous system, which is the most human-like existence in the mechanical era. For this, Locke disliked it very much. After all, in the original book, 9's is Miss 2B's partner. Putting a 9's with human emotions next to Miss 2B, Locke, as an LSP, expressed his refusal and firmly opposed it. So he used the wisdom of his Superman to create his own artificial intelligence, named 9's. 9's is not only his own artificial intelligence, but also the artificial intelligence of the entire Yoba Army, and he has an infinite mirror duplication. Each duplication exists independently, but shares the same database. Having such an artificial intelligence is also of great help to the Yoba Army. Hacked successfully and gained full control of Tony Stark's armor. At this moment, the sound of the successful invasion of 9's appeared in Locke's ears. Suddenly, a playful smile appeared on his face. The time of the successful invasion was extended to 1 minute, which is a bit interesting. Locke smiled. Tony Stark has upgraded his artificial intelligence system JARVIS since the last time he was hacked by Miss 2B. The last successful invasion took 10 seconds, now it takes 1 minute and the difficulty is 6 times higher. The speed of improvement is still very fast, as expected of Tony Stark. He is indeed a genius. He's looking forward to the next encounter. How far will Tony Stark reinforce the JARVIS? Time goes back 1 minute. Tony Stark, who had just landed, had a look of pride on his face, and the feeling of being watched made him feel very satisfied. But before he could be happy for too long, the warning voice of JARVIS rang out. Mr. Stark, an unknown signal source has been found, and the signal is violently invading our control system. What? There are intruders again. What's going on these days? Have you stabbed the hacker's nest? But this time I can upgrade the system. It is not so easy to invade me, Tony Stark muttered to himself confidently. But just as he finished speaking, JARVIS's warning voice sounded again. The system encryption module was cracked. The anti-intrusion module was cracked. The other party is forcibly connecting to the control system of the battle armor, and the connection is successful. The AI system is forced into hibernation, Mr. Stark. I have lost control of the warframe. When the last sound of JARVIS came out, it went straight to sleep without any movement. WTF. Reboot the system now. Tony Stark's face was extremely ugly. It was like this last time, and this time, it's just a little longer. This shows that his last upgrade was effective, but it was still not stronger than the intruder. At this moment, a man's voice suddenly sounded in his armor. Mr. Tony Stark, do you have any experience dancing? Tony looked confused. Immediately reacted. This should be the guy who was secretly scaring his own system. While angry in his heart, he was also extremely horrified. He had never thought before that, in this world, someone's hacking skills would be superior to his genius. He always thought that the artificial intelligence system JARVIS he built was already the safest control system on the planet. But now it seems, obviously not. Who are you? A cold and dignified voice came out of his mouth, but no one answered him. Instead, an extremely mechanical electronic synthesis sound sounded. Longduo Square Dance Action Template has been imported successfully, and the series of dances the most dazzling ethnic style is starting. Tony. The dumbfounded Tony didn't know what absurd things he would do next. Until he found that his steel armor began to dance to the best dragon music. But it's too late. The vast horizon is my love, the flowers are blooming at the foot of the green hills. What kind of rhythm is the most swinging? What kind of singing is the happiest? No, damn it, stop it. Everyone in the audience. No one expected that Tony Stark, who had just arrived, would suddenly play music and start dancing. How happy is this? But dancing, it's pretty good. It's just that one thing is not very good. I don't understand the lyrics. Forced power off. Tony Stark, with a look of despair, directly forcibly shut down the power system of the armor. This stopped the further development of the situation, otherwise he really didn't know how the behind the scenes would fix himself. Serious overtime, only have time at night. Try to achieve today's goals, ask for some data. Alright legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.